Take 3. Take 3. Share your story even when your voice shakes. If you've ever lost a baby or had a miscarriage, you'll appreciate this story. I'm sharing this story because of the multiplication of suffering from the discomfort of feelings. That is to say, feeling our feelings and sharing them helps to heal them. And I hope that you receive some medicine from hearing this story today. I'm speaking to you humbly today from my place as a medicine woman. In medicine work, your ability to sit with people is more important than how much spiritual work you've done. And I'm speaking today from a place of storytelling as medicine, from a place where I believe that women get stronger from sitting together and holding each other through the darkness. There's so much power here. And one of the reasons I'm so skilled at holding people at their worst, in their crises, in their darkness, is because I have gone over and over and over again into my messiest places. So this story of loss happened in my mind and it happened in my body. This trauma is deeply rooted in both. But I knew I wanted to walk through the fire and on the coals. I didn't just want to bury it and move on. And I had multiple women that had been through this same story say that to me. Do not bury this. Feel it, heal it. If your partner doesn't meet you there, I'm really sorry. That happened to me too. My feelings scared him away. A part of partnership is learning to be with each other in all the ways. And if someone's capacity is too small for you and they leave, it's not a reflection of you. Please remember that. I was reminded of that multiple times. That's on their soul, that's their free will, not a reflection of you. I took a lot of alone time the months after this happened to me. After the loss, I wanted to be an apprentice to and a witness of my grief. And I wanted to be an apprentice to and a witness to my womb. My visions were terrifying. And my dreams were also terrifying. But as I continued to walk through, learning deeper and deeper what self-care truly looked like, glimpses of my light returned. I had moments where I thought, oh, there I am. I'm coming back. Because this was a huge reinitiation in holding space. Because I had learned so many years prior to deeply hold space for people, now I was seeking people who were able to hold space for me. And I gotta tell you, I was let down. I learned what people should not say to me. And I learned so much about how to hold people in their grief and darkness because of what I was not provided with in mine. Without knowing the full story, I had many people, instead of just being able to listen, fully physically squirming, changing the subject, or telling me to just try again. Hormones changed me. I didn't feel that I knew who I was when I had a very good sense of that beforehand. And I was in a place of recreating myself, a crafting of myself. I had been there before, and I knew while I was in it that my actions and experiences were weaving me into a new version of self. But since I'd never been in that particular grief before, it was terrifying. I had been told in a meditation the word ectopic. I hadn't an understanding of what that word meant. I actually had to go look it up and find out. It was very shocking to be given that message as a warning, as a preparation for dealing with my body so that I could get through this in a healthy way. And these were epic old tales that were being repeated in my DNA. I had ancestors who dealt with this grief as close as my grandmother. And while the merging of new selves wasn't foreign to me, in this time, it was. However, I was able to deepen my magic. Unfortunately, sometimes I deepen my magic to places of almost a burden. But there were whispers of secrets from the land or of people's guides and guardians that had become undeniable. I was able to help people in a deeper way, and after the loss, I was even able to commune with this male spirit on halfway to Hearside, on a river, which was soothing in a dark time to learn why he wasn't coming and that he might be back in the future. So this trauma, it stuck to me much longer than I imagined. Partly because you wonder if you're a failure, and partly because my partner couldn't handle me after. But the funny thing about that is, he never even saw the worst of me. He saw some bad for sure, but he wasn't with me when I'd have to sneak off to wail and slam my hands into the earth, asking for a sense of retribution as tears fall down my cheeks, seeking a sense of retribution of any kind. He saw me wildly emotional and flailing, cranky and hormonal, but he actually didn't see the full wrath of me, of that wildly terrifying bolt of lightning, of me striking the ground in anguish, healing my ancestors' pain of their grief and their loss from the exact same thing. It had been a blessing and a curse to feel so much, and I'm sad for our current generation who struggle so much to feel. I mean, isn't that what being human is? Our ability to just toss people away and dispose of each other because of their humanness being too much is what pained me a lot in that loss. I actually never asked anyone to fix it. I fixed myself. I just need someone to be able to witness all of it. So now the cocoon of a dark winter has a new spin on it. A cold time, where the darkness and that pain residing in my womb, seeking to be acknowledged, can be pulled apart. 2 winters in a row, the theme of this darkness has been crafting. A crafting of oneself. A seasonal crafting. All the different ways we get to experience crafting ourselves as a human land in that season for me now. While I had the choice to numb and carry on, or quickly seek to fill the gap my partner left, or to feel it all so I could be as present as possible to the unfolding of the medicine. It was painful, murky, thick, and swampy. But what I alchemized from it, these gems of power that I found for myself as a woman that I could never have claimed without that depth, without that void. I listened to an interview last week of Timothy Leary and Ram Dass, and they were talking about catching up with an old friend, and how catching up with old friends is like asking someone who's an explorer what the terrain was like at the place they most recently explored. And like, oh yeah, it's like this. Oh, okay, yeah, mine's like this over here. And I can deeply appreciate this. To be able to share this rocky terrain with you, I want to share, as I've always been a storyteller, of both what life looks like and what it feels like. From the light, positive, and blooming, all the way to the heaving and vomiting up of old darkness. Here's to our continued crafting of the self.